Welcome back to ABC General Hospital Spoilers channel. Today we will delve deep into the escalating drama surrounding the custody battle for Michael Corinthos' children. Fasten your seatbelts because this ride is about to get tumultuous. Carly's legal onslaught. Carly Corinthos is like a lioness fiercely defending her cub. She has rolled up her sleeves and is ready to unleash a legal tornado against anyone who tries to separate Michael from his children, Wiley and Amelia. Her strategy? Use every dirty little secret she knows, from Drew Kane's recent scandal to any other skeletons lurking in the closets of her adversaries. Carly's courtroom war machine is gearing up, and nothing, it seems, will stand in her way. However, her approach might backfire. Carly's relentless pursuit might not only target her enemies but could also spark an internal family feud that could have repercussions far beyond the courtroom. Imagine, if you will, the scene where Carly, armed with legal documents and scandalous evidence, storms into the courtroom only to find her own family members in opposition. Sonny's stealth diplomacy. On the other side of the battle lines, we have Sonny Corinthos, who, unlike Carly, prefers the path of quiet negotiation to courtroom confrontation. He's working the back channels, trying to negotiate a peaceful resolution, believing that court battles would only expose the children to further trauma. But here's where the plot thickens. What if Sonny's diplomatic efforts are not about peace but about maintaining control? Perhaps, he sees this as an opportunity to solidify his influence over both Michael and Carly, ensuring they dance to his tune even if the music stops. This could lead to a massive fallout with Carly, igniting a feud that could tear the Corinthos family apart. Nina's interference and allegiances. Enter Nina Reeves, the wildcard in this high-stakes drama. Nina, always playing the long game, is about to make a bold move. She'll approach Carly, not with hostility, but with a plea. Nina, knowing full well about Michael's current health condition, implores Carly to delay the custody hearings. It's a risky move, akin to wearing a steak necklace in a room full of lions. Carly could easily use Nina's past involvement in Drew's scandalous night against her, turning the request into a precarious negotiation. However, what if Nina's true aim is to sow discord between Carly and Sonny, furthering her own plans for retribution or control? Drew's malicious strategy. Meanwhile, Drew Kane is not sitting idly by. He's plotting a sinister counterattack, aiming to paint Michael, who's currently battling illness, as an unfit and absent father. This strategy feels particularly venomous, not just because of Michael's condition but because it directly contradicts the love and care Michael has shown for his children. Drew's actions could lead to significant fallout, not just with Michael but with the entire community of Port Charles. If we consider Tracy Quartermain's reservations about Drew's approach, we see the broader implications of his actions. Tracy, usually a puppet master in her own right, might be contemplating her own moves to push Sonny out, adding another layer of complexity to this already convoluted web. Willow's leverage and the ultimate twist. And then there's Willow, who holds a secret that could change everything. She knows about Sasha's unborn child being Michael's. This revelation could not only highlight Michael's infidelity but could also swing the custody case dramatically in Willow's favor. Imagine the courtroom drama. Willow, with a calm yet stern demeanor, presents her evidence. The silence that falls over the room would be deafening. This twist could ensure that custody of Wiley and Amelia might end up with Willow, not because she's the biological mother of Wiley, but because of Michael's indiscretions. As we brace for the next episodes of General Hospital, one thing is clear: the custody battle for Michael Corinthos' children is not just about family law. It's a chess game where every move has far-reaching consequences, affecting relationships, allegiances, and possibly the very heart of Port Charles itself. Next, we will learn about the brewing custody war that's set to shake Port Charles to its core. The battle over Wiley and Amelia Corinthos has escalated in dramatic fashion, pulling together old enemies, desperate parents, and explosive secrets that could change everything. Carly Spencer sets off a chain reaction. Carly Spencer, always quick to act when her family's at stake, had what seemed like a solid plan: initiate legal proceedings to help her son, Michael Corinthos, reclaim custody of his children. She convinced attorney Diane Miller to file for divorce and custody on Michael's behalf, even though he wasn't back in town yet. Carly's logic was simple: strike first, secure the children, and reunite them with their father as soon as possible. But what Carly didn't account for was the system moving faster than expected. The court hearing was scheduled just 2 weeks out, on June 2nd. That gave Michael barely any time to return, regroup, or prepare. Suddenly, Carly's carefully constructed strategy was unraveling. Without Michael present, the chances of winning custody shrank dramatically. Desperate to salvage the situation, Diane suggested a risky legal maneuver: file an emergency petition to remove the kids from Willow Corinthos' care temporarily. But there was a catch: doing so wouldn't guarantee that Carly would get the kids. In fact, there was a very real possibility that Nina Reeves, Willow's biological mother and Carly's longtime rival, could become their temporary guardian. The courtroom gamble: high stakes, uncertain outcomes. Despite the uncertainty, Diane went ahead with the emergency filing, and shockingly, it worked. The court ruled in her favor, stripping Willow of temporary custody of Wiley and Amelia. The judge's decision was heavily influenced by recent events involving Drew Kane, who had been living with the children. Drew had recently been caught in a very public scandal involving ketamine and an escort named Jacinda. Photos and video footage of Drew's wild night out spread quickly, and during a press conference, he admitted that ketamine was indeed in his system. These developments painted an unstable picture of the children's home life. The judge didn't need much convincing after that. Keeping Wiley and Amelia under Drew's roof was no longer an option. With Willow's custody temporarily revoked and Michael out of reach, the next logical step was to decide who should take care of the children until the final hearing. That's when Nina's name entered the conversation. Nina Reeves, from outcast to caretaker? Here's where things get even more tangled. While Carly might not be thrilled at the idea of Nina stepping in, she's also not entirely opposed. The two women, though bitter enemies in the past, have recently found themselves aligned when it comes to Drew. Both believe Drew poses a danger to the children, and both want to protect Wiley and Amelia from being used as pawns in his escalating antics. Still, Carly can't help but feel the sting of irony. After years of fighting to keep Nina away from Wiley, she might now have to rely on her. Diane's warning was clear. If the court finds Nina to be the more stable option, Carly might be forced to step aside. What complicates this even more is that Carly and Nina were recently working together behind the scenes. They had a shared goal: break up Drew and Willow's crumbling relationship. That alliance, however temporary, could come back to haunt them if the wrong person finds out. Enter Drew Kane. Drew Kane strikes back. Drew isn't going down quietly. Though his public image has taken a major hit, he's still a skilled operator behind the scenes, and he's looking to shift the narrative. During the May 14th episode, Drew learned from Ezra Boyle that Nina had been seen speaking with Jacinda. The same Jacinda who was involved in Drew's ketamine incident. That detail lit a fire under Drew. If Nina had any connection to Jacinda, even a minor one, Drew could argue that she orchestrated his public downfall. Imagine the implications. If Drew can convince Willow that her own mother, Nina, helped frame him, then Nina's claim to the children might be completely destroyed. Worse yet, if Drew spins the story further, that Carly was in on it too, he could pit Willow against both maternal figures in her life. Manipulation, mistrust, and a mother's worst fear. Willow is already fragile, having been thrust into this chaotic custody crisis without warning. If Drew succeeds in twisting the truth, he could completely isolate Willow from Nina and from Carly. The emotional damage would be devastating. She'd feel betrayed by the people she thought were protecting her, and with Michael gone, she'd have no one left to trust. This is exactly the kind of emotional fracture Drew is hoping to create. If Willow believes her mother and Carly plotted behind her back, it would justify any resistance she might have to their custody claims. Drew's long game is clear: destabilize the opposition, solidify his bond with Willow, and reassert control over the family dynamic. Next, we're diving into the unraveling romances of Port Charles, where three couples are floundering and may be headed toward heartbreak rather than happily ever after. In a town known for passionate affairs, messy love triangles, and dramatic reunions, not every couple survives the test of time or the scrutiny of viewers. While some relationships flourish under pressure, others crumble when unresolved baggage, uneven storytelling, or a lack of genuine chemistry gets in the way. Right now, three romantic duos on General Hospital are skating on thin ice, and fans are beginning to notice the cracks. Let's break down why these couples are faltering, what went wrong, and where their stories might go next. 1. Elizabeth and Lucky, a once legendary love that's lost its rhythm. Elizabeth Baldwin and Lucky Spencer were once the couple. Their youthful romance, anchored in tragedy and resilience, made them fan favorites. But their recent reunion feels less like a triumphant return and more like a misguided attempt to recreate the past without doing the work to make it believable in the present. For longtime fans, seeing Liz and Lucky share the screen again brought a wave of nostalgia. But nostalgia alone can't hold a storyline together, especially when deep-rooted issues remain untouched. Their past is full of heartbreak. Lucky struggles with addiction, Elizabeth's infidelity, custody battles, emotional betrayals. These are not minor speed bumps, they're serious emotional landmines. And instead of unpacking them, the show opted for a fast-forward reunion, skipping the hard conversations that could have laid the groundwork for a true fresh start. Lucky's recent decision to conceal critical details about the car crash caused by Christina Corinthos Davis adds another layer of trouble. He's keeping secrets that directly impact people Elizabeth cares about. This is a man she's supposed to trust, but instead, he's making choices that could destroy her faith in him all over again. And then there's the elephant in the room, Elizabeth's doubt that Lucky can ever truly settle down. He's always been a wanderer, emotionally and geographically. While he may want to believe he's changed, his actions suggest otherwise. Liz is more grounded than ever, focused on her children, her career, her stability. Lucky, on the other hand, still seems caught in the in-between. If the show doesn't course-correct soon and give these two a moment of honest reckoning, it's hard to imagine this relationship going anywhere meaningful. More likely, we're heading toward a tearful breakup and another Lucky Spencer departure from Port Charles. Maybe for the last time. 2. Trina and Kai, a flatline romance in search of a pulse. When Kai Taylor was introduced as Trina Robinson's new love interest, the hope was for a refreshing new chapter in her life. After everything she endured with Spencer Cassidy, emotional manipulation, class warfare, family drama, Kai seemed like a welcome break. An athlete with a heart of gold and a compelling personal arc? It should have worked. But so far, it just hasn't. The core issue is imbalance. Kai is still a relatively new character, and yet the storyline revolves entirely around him. Trina, who has been a breakout star in her own right, has been relegated to the role of emotional support. She's written as his cheerleader, not his equal. We've seen more screen time devoted to Kai's football career and his recent surgery than to Trina's goals, her perspective, or her emotional interior. This is a disservice not only to her character but also to their potential as a couple. On paper, Kai is likable enough. But he lacks the layered complexity and brooding magnetism that define Spencer Cassidy. And that comparison is impossible to avoid. The Sprina storyline, Spencer and Trina's slow-burn romance, was rich with tension, history, and character development. Their relationship wasn't perfect, but it was unforgettable. That's a high bar for Kai to clear, and frankly, he's not even close. Fans sense it. Trina may smile beside Kai, but her chemistry with him doesn't ignite the screen the way it did with Spencer. There's no storm, no fire, just static warmth. It's fine, but it's not thrilling. And in soap opera terms, that's a death sentence. Once Spencer is recast, and make no mistake, the show will bring him back. Kai's days are likely numbered. The writers may try to throw in a twist to complicate things, but unless Kai is hiding a major secret or gets swept into a gripping new storyline, his presence feels temporary. Trina deserves more than being a love interest for someone else's arc. 3. Willow and Drew, a chemistry vacuum with no clear future. If there's one couple that seems universally panned right now, it's Willow Corinthos and Drew Kane. Their pairing has been problematic from the start. Marked by a lack of emotional grounding, murky motivations, and a chemistry deficit so profound that even the most seasoned soap fans can't find a reason to root for them. It's not that Willow and Drew are bad people. Separately, they've had compelling arcs. But together, they're like water and oil, blending out of necessity, not desire. Their initial connection never made much sense, and the relationship has always felt transactional. There's no passion, no romantic tension, no natural progression. Just two people drifting into each other's orbits because the plot demanded it. Recent developments have only made matters worse. Drew's descent into shady business tactics, especially his involvement in the deception scandal, has cast a dark cloud over him. Viewers are watching a man who was once a moral anchor slowly slip into ethically gray territory. And Willow, still recovering from her own health battles and family betrayals, doesn't need another manipulator in her life. Ironically, Nina Reeves' failed drugging plot ended up pushing Willow and Drew closer, for now. But that false sense of unity is brittle. It's only a matter of time before Willow discovers Drew's manipulations, and when she does, expect fireworks. Or at the very least, an overdue breakup. There's a growing sense that this pairing is just killing time until both characters are slotted into more meaningful relationships. Drew could find redemption elsewhere, perhaps with someone who challenges him. Willow might rediscover her independence or explore a deeper bond with a yet unknown character. Either way, this couple feels like a narrative cul-de-sac. Closing thoughts, the writing's on the wall. In a town where relationships are forged in the fire of scandal and survival, not every pairing can thrive. Elizabeth and Lucky's reunion has been stifled by secrets and unhealed scars. Trina and Kai's sparkless dynamic lacks the weight and complexity needed to sustain interest. And Willow and Drew's chemistry-free connection may go down as one of the most baffling pairings in recent General Hospital memory. But the beauty of Port Charles is that when one story ends, another begins. Failed relationships often lead to fresh starts, shocking twists, or long-awaited reunions. Fans are already speculating about Spencer's return, Elizabeth's next romantic chapter, and who Willow and Drew might end up with once the dust settles. So keep your eyes on these three couples. They may not be endgame, but their downfalls could pave the way for some of the most compelling stories General Hospital has told in years.